Journal Editorial Report. I'm Paul Gigot. As new details emerge about the events leading up to the Orlando nightclub shooting, questions are being raised about what, if anything, could have been done to prevent the deadliest terror attack on U.S. soil since September 11th. 29-year-old Omar Mateen was twice the subject of FBI scrutiny. In both investigations, agents concluded he did not pose an immediate threat. Former New York City Police Commissioner Ray Kelly is vice chair at K2 Intelligence and author of the book Vigilance. Commissioner, welcome back.
Good to be with you, Paul.
You live this every day. How do you anticipate and stop a lone wolf terrorist like this?
With great difficulty. No question about it. They're able to encrypt their messages. There's really no easy way of tracking these people. It used to be that we could get into chat rooms and sort of identify people who have a bent towards violence. Very difficult now. There's one-on-one chat rooms. The encryption is everywhere. So, as Jim Comey said, it's like finding a needle in a haystack and trying to determine what piece of hay is going to turn into a needle.
Okay, but in this case, they had monitored him twice on two occasions. He was in their sights, and yet both times they decided, okay, he doesn't pose a threat. What is, if you're an FBI agent or an NYPD intelligence officer and you're looking at somebody like this, what are you looking for to be able to say, you know what, I think he is going to go over the line?
Well, you're looking for some manifest act. Obviously,
action.
Action. You're looking for something you can point to as an action. Now, it's important to note, I think, that this was a preliminary investigation, and under the Attorney General's guidelines, these investigations have time limits. If it was a full field investigation, there are no time limits.
So they had to end surveillance at a certain point?
Yes, I think they had a show every 90 days as to why the investigation remains open. Now, I think Jim Comey is an honorable guy. I certainly think he's terrific. He said he's going to take a look at this, and I think that perhaps there are lessons to be learned on how these preliminary investigations are conducted.
So, and maybe have more of them that go beyond that. And what is the next stage? What do you call it?
The next stage is a full field investigation, but maybe there should be an interim stage. Maybe there should be another category that allows it to go further. And I think the Justice Department has to look at these guidelines as well.
Does the FBI have the resources to even track all of these people, the manpower to be able to do it? Because there are a lot of people who will show perhaps tendencies on chat rooms or on their Facebook account towards Islamic State, but wouldn't act on it.
You're right, and I think they do need more resources to do it. But it's always an issue for government agencies. Everyone always wants more resources.
I know that, but exactly. But when it's this question of how do you make sure that people who are at least who have shown indications of radicalization, I mean, do they even have the manpower to track those people?
Well, I think they do, and it depends sort of what category you put them in. But, I think that it can be done. We don't know the details of this case.
Yeah, that's true.
We don't know precisely. They say they took confidential informants and put them up against them. What are the details of that? I mean, he said some pretty outrageous things
to his coworkers,
to the agents. When they interviewed him, he said, he wanted to die a martyr.
Right.
So that's pretty strong stuff.
But you cannot arrest anybody for saying something. You can only arrest somebody for taking action.
Yes, but also, I mean, it means that you can surveil him in a variety of ways if there's, suspicion there. And hindsight is 20/20. But I think, based on the statements that he made, I think he warranted more surveillance.
What do you think of sting operations in which the FBI or the New York Police Department or somebody else basically gives somebody who's suspected of being radicalized the opportunity to take a step towards violent action? That's being criticized by a lot of people, saying it's entrapment or these guys it's unfair, they're not really threats. But yet that is a way for them to demonstrate action.
Right. No, I think it's absolutely necessary in this area. And no one is being arrested or taken into custody for just what they say.
Right.
You have to have a manifest act. And I think the FBI has done a good job. They've arrested over 100 people in the last 2 years for the manifest act, either attempting to go to Iraq and Syria or talking specifically about conducting a violent act and accumulating the material to do that or starting to do it. I think you have to act quickly, and I think sting operations are absolutely essential in this area because it's sort of ephemeral in terms of what people are saying. Once they make that act, that motion, then I think it's appropriate to act.
All right, step back, big picture. Everything you know about the terrorist threat of Islamic State, how big a threat does it remain?
Oh, it remains a significant threat. You just look at
to the homeland.
What John Brennan said yesterday. John Brennan was, even though it's the CIA, he was talking about the threat to the homeland. He's saying, in essence, that almost irrespective of how much we reduce their footprint in the Middle East, their inspirational reach is significant and going to be significant for quite a while. So that's what we primarily are concerned about in this country.
Was it a mistake for your successors in New York to take down from the NYPD website the radicalization of the West report that your administration did, which identified this threat?
Well, I think it was a bad signal. They sort of capitulated. This is a demand that's been put forward by activists for a long time. I think it gave the wrong signal, certainly in the environment that we're in. The report was very well done. It was an early effort done in 2007 to sort of get our arms around.
It anticipated what's happened.
Exactly. And these are done by two outstanding NYPD analysts, Mitch Silver and Alvin Bott, and it was heralded throughout the world, certainly by the counterterrorism world, that it was a seminal document, and they took it down in response to a lawsuit, and I think it was the wrong move.
All right, Commissioner Kelly, thanks very much for being here.